What's up, guys? It's Noah here from the DigiBros. In today's video, I wanted to talk about what happened this past weekend at the Core TCG One Piece Card Game Deck Limited Battle. At this point, I'm not having the best track records with these large online Bandai events. I have played in plenty of them. I have played in the Digimon Regionals, the Digimon Nationals. I played in a bunch of these large online Bandai events, but the past couple I participated in, it's just they've been going downhill. And I just wanted to talk about exactly what happened this past weekend at the Core TCG Deck Limited Battle once again. So registration fine. I had no problems. Round one pairings went up on the Bandai TCG Plus app, no problems. Played my first round, good back and forth. Me and my opponent. I won that round 2-1. I was playing against red. I was playing blue for the tournament. It was a good time, no problems. Everything was smooth so far. And then it was after the first round when problems began to happen. A lot of players are having issues submitting their pairings on the app, stuff like that. I didn't have any issues, neither did my opponent. When we were submitting our scores, everything was cool. It was later, like I said, a bunch of other players were having issues. And then once all that got resolved, all the players, were able to submit the scores. That's whenever they put up the pairings for the second round, when problems really began to happen. Both the Bandai TCG Plus app and the website for the same Bandai TCG Plus, the amount of players they had, the best way to say is it crashed the server, and it took a lot of people, like several minutes, like 5-10 minutes to be able to see their pairings to get into the next round. So I was able to see mine. I went to my second round. My opponent was already there. He happened to see his earlier. So we just sat there waiting. That we did get a notice in the Discord saying, "Hey, we're having some issues. People are, haven't found out what pairings they are, what tables. So just we'll let you guys know what time." So me and my new round 2 opponent, we just sat there, talked. Very nice guy. We just talked about a bunch of different games, stuff like that. Waiting for the new pairings and stuff. And that's whenever Core TCG had the announcement that they were going to be swapping from the Bandai TCG Plus tournament software over to the Arcade 9 Labs, which I had no problem with. But that meant that they were going to start the tournament over. That was the problem me and a bunch of other players had issues with. Never once in my 10 plus years of card game experience tournament playing have I ever been in a tournament where they started it over after rounds had already finished. I just felt that was very unprofessional. I understand that they're having problems with the Bandai TCG Plus, and that the best way to continue the tournament moving forward was to swap over to a different tournament software. It's just, it was very unfortunate. A bunch of people who won their first round or lost their first round got to start over. I don't know how I feel about that part either. So getting into that, my new round 1 opponent, I was in there, after they put the pairings, after they had the announcement, I was in there for 5 minutes, waiting for my opponent to show. Before that happened, or before they reset the tournament, for the late players, after 5 minutes they would issue a game loss. After 10 they would issue a match loss. I also forgot to mention, after they restarted the tournament, they moved from a best of 3 to a best of 1. Completely different in terms of gameplay. Some decks are much more better in best of 1 formats, like red, really aggro, really fast, just trying to get in. Where like ones that take a little bit longer, such as blue, because they're playing for the long game, a bunch of like countering and stuff like that, a bunch of putting your opponent's stuff back in hand. It usually takes much longer and it's harder to do in a best of 1 format. And so, like I said, after 5 minutes, my opponent didn't show. After additional 4 minutes, so 9 minutes total had passed, and my new round 1 opponent finally showed up. And at that point, I didn't know what to do, because after 5 minutes, I went into the no-show tab on the Discord page. I said, "Hey, my opponent isn't here yet." And so a judge, finally came by. I pinged for another judge, after my opponent showed. At this point, it's already been like 10 plus minutes. I'm like, "Hey, judge," I explain what happened. I'm like, "Hey, after 5 minutes, I posted, point to show up." And now it's, he showed up at the 9-minute mark. how does this work? Doing the best of one, because before they issued game one lost up to 5 minutes. The judge just basically said, we've been having these problems, and your opponent's here now, so you guys are good to go on and play the remainder of the match. So whenever they moved to the best of one, they moved it down to a 35-minute. By this point, 10 plus minutes had already gone by, and like I said, I was playing blue, and like I mentioned, blue is more of a long term, not very, fast and aggressive. So me and my opponent, we had a good game. We, bunched back and forth, and me and my opponent were at the same amount of life whenever time was called. So the judges made their rounds, and before that, the judges had announced that we would have 5 minutes of overtime or turns 0, 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Each player get 2 turns at a time. This did not happen. Our judge that hopped in said, "Hey, this is time in the round. After this turn, there's no more turns. Finish out the current turn." It's kind of like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! End of time procedures. And like I said, my opponent had already attacked. I countered, blocked everything. My opponent was playing purple. Used the leader Kaido skill to be able to don my 7 to trash life, and I lost that round because of that. Because at the end of it, I had less life than my opponent. At this point, I was very frustrated, and I did end up dropping from the tournament. Just the combination of, my opponent being late, them, starting the tournament over, moving from a best of 3 to a best of 1. It's just a combination of stuff I just wasn't prepared for going into this tournament. I had been practicing blue best 2 out of 3 for weeks now, and I personally just felt like it was taken away, not just from me, but from a bunch of players, because the other deck limited battles that happened prior to the Core TCG one, they were all best 2 out of 3, and not saying, well, blue did win those, but I'm not saying blue won because of that. It was very hard to go into this event knowing that after it started, after the first round, that they were going to make such a huge impact by starting the tournament over. And if I would have known it would have been the best of one, I would have played a different deck going into it. It's just the combination of things is very disheartening, and so that's just the things I wanted to share with you guys. What happened from my experience over the Core TCG deck limited battle for the One Piece card game this past weekend. I know a bunch of players continuing out the tournament. We eventually got the winner. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to everyone else who made the top 32. I'm glad everyone who played got to have fun. I was just very discouraged after that, after everything that went down. I did not want to play the rest of the tournament. They did announce after they started over, everyone who participated was going to get their participation prizing, where before it had to be after 3 rounds. So I will still be getting my participation prizing. I will be doing an unboxing once this stuff comes in to show off all the cool One Piece goodies we'll get. After the last big Digimon event I tried to play online, and similar issues happened where they sold too many tickets. They told players that already paid that they couldn't participate. I'm just so frustrated with all these online Bandai tournament issues. The prize Luffy that I mentioned earlier for first and second place, they will be using that for prize support for later tournaments. So I'm not stressed out. I would really like to get me one of those in the future. Hopefully I will be able to, play and top and earn one myself. So I'm not really worried about that. It's just I wanted to express how frustrating it is for me as a Bandai TCG player, whether it be Digimon or One Piece. I know other players play Dragon Ball Super as well. It's just frustrating because if I keep having these issues playing in these large online tournaments, it's hard for me and other players to want to play in these large online tournaments if we just keep having these kind of issues. So that's basically what happened. I just wanted to share with you guys my experience and how frustrating it was. So did you guys get to play in the deck limited battle for Core TCG or any of them? What decks did you play? Did you have that issue after round 1 they started it over? Let me know down in the comments below. Moving forward, I know that PPG and other deck limited battles have announced that they will be doing the best of 1 format. It was good for them to go on and announce, instead of them starting the tournament over, hey, by the way, we're starting over with the best of 1. Best of luck. So that's just how I felt. So once again, I am Noah from the DigiBros. This is my frustrations about the deck limited battle and everything that happened. So once again, let me know down below. Did you experience anything like this? Did you get to play in yours? Did you have fun? Tell me about the stuff. I'll catch you guys later.